Hey everyone, welcome to the live today. We're going to do some coaching. For those of you who are here, please drop into the chat box and say hello. Please ask me any questions that you do have, because that's what this is all about, is me answering your questions. Some people have submitted some questions to me to answer via email. If you do have questions that you want me to answer, guys, email me at jared@buyingonlinebusinesses.com. If you're watching this as not as a live, but if you're here now, paste those questions into the chat here on YouTube and let's dive in. The main topic of this video, this live, is to talk about the types of website beginners should be buying. What type of passive websites beginners should be buying. Now, I was on an interview earlier this morning and I got asked the question, where should beginners start with an online business? And my explanation is there's two different ways that you should get into making an income online. And most people just only think there's one way, which is just go away and start an online business, right? If that's what your goal is to make money online, start an online business. There's only a few people that should actually do that, though. The people that should do that are those that know of a product or a service that doesn't yet exist, and they're willing to put in 5 to 10 years of work to build a business around that product or service and sell it. And it's something that they're passionate about, absolutely passionate about. I think they're the only people that should start an online business, because they've got a passion for a product, it doesn't exist, and they're going to last the distance. Usually it takes a long time to get a business, really build some legs and for it to even start become profitable. Most people don't make it. 90% of people don't make it. The other half of people are the people probably like you and probably like me. My goal was, when I wanted to start making income online, was just to make an income online. I didn't really care how. I wanted to make an income online so I could not be a plumber anymore. If you're sitting in that boat, do not start an online business. That's my advice. Obviously, there's caveats to it. But if your goal is to make an income online, I think, in my opinion, and this can be pretty biased towards the business that I've built and helping people to buy business, I think you should buy an established business that already has, somebody's already put in 2 years work or 3 years or 4 years work, that has already built some legs on the business, and it's past that 90% failure rate, and it's got a proven track record of making an income each month. That's what my belief is. So there's two sort of camps. Start your own business if you've got a product that doesn't exist yet and you're passionate about it, start it. If you're not, don't start a business, buy something. Now, the next question is, Jared, what sort of business should I buy? Like, there's so many businesses to buy. Okay, there's three main business models that I like to explain and teach. First, you have e-commerce businesses. Most people that think an online business, when we think online business, most people just automatically go to selling products online, which is an e-commerce business. That can be via Amazon. It can be via any outlet. It can be through drop shipping. It can be through self-product distribution, yourself at home, or it could be through the 3PL, which is third-party logistics, which is what Amazon FBA does. And you can have these 3PL services outside of Amazon as well. That's an e-commerce business. The second is you have membership businesses or SaaS businesses, where people will pay you a recurring income monthly, quarterly, annually, whatever it may be, for a software or a tool, which could be like an accounting software. It could be any sort of tool or software. It could be Ahrefs. It could be some sort of software that we may use in our life. Or it could be a membership such as content, where people will pay per month to view Netflix and Stan and Disney and whatnot. So that's SaaS and membership businesses. That's the second one. The third one is content websites. Content websites are basically blogs that make an income through ad revenue or affiliate links. They get commissions for the sales of the product that they recommend, or a combination of ad revenue and affiliate links. Now, I'm going to explain which is the best business model for a beginner and which is best for a non-beginner and then somebody that may be advanced, and what skills you may have in terms of adding leverage to that type of business. What I do want you to do though is, if you are here listening to this live, please drop into the chat box. I see there's a bunch of people here watching me. I'm here in my room by myself, guys. Like, come and interact with me. Say hi in the chat box and ask me any questions that you do have. Please ask me questions, because this helps me give you better value and better information. If you're asking a question after the fact of this being live, that's totally fine. I'll get to your question at some stage. So who's best to buy what type of business for a beginner? Well, for a complete beginner, my recommendation is going with the most passive type of online business. And this is very general, but most commonly the most passive type of online business is a content website. If a content website's set up well with a good SEO structure and all that sort of stuff, then just adding content to it and building some backlinks can really help you scale and grow the business. And you can hire that. You can get that done by somebody else. It can be a content creation service. You can hire virtual assistants and build your own team of writers. Or you could just have one writer that you pay. I've got a client that's just got one writer, pays them a couple $100 per article for a phenomenal article, and he gets great traffic. It can be as simple as that. And you don't need to be publishing a lot of content super consistently. Sometimes people have a content site and they just leave it for 6 months and it still does its thing. I've owned a content site for over a year and it still got traffic, still made an income, and I didn't touch it at all. So I think content sites are quite passive. These can be blogs with ad revenue or affiliate revenue or a combination of both. And if you're a beginner, I think these are good types of businesses to buy as a complete newbie to the online business world, because there's not as many hats to wear as a business owner. You do need to start to tinker with WordPress and work out how things work and all that sort of stuff, or you could hire a developer to help you do that sort of stuff when the tech stuff gets too much. This is what I like to do. I don't like tinkering with tech stuff. It's not my thing. I make money because I like to be a strategic thinker and get people to help me with the things that I don't like, that bog me down and don't get me, me trying to do it myself doesn't get results. So you can do that. And another reason for beginners is because it can be really, really passive. Like I said before, you can leave the site for quite a while. You can still earn an income, and it doesn't need as much attention as you may think an online business may need. Because usually when we're thinking online business, usually we're thinking, e-commerce businesses, like I said. James has a question that I'm going to answer very shortly. Thank you, James. And I'm going to finish off my comment on the different types of businesses. So then that's content sites. A lot of people are professionals, online business owners, own content sites as well, because they're passive too, myself included. I have content sites because I like it. It's passive. It's easy to run, and it can make good money with not as much work as, say, other types of online businesses. So these can work for beginners all the way up to experts. For other people that aren't beginners that know about online business, usually you're going to know what sort of skills you have. Usually you may have, some people may have some digital marketing experience. If you've got digital marketing experience and you know how to run paid ads on Facebook, then buying a business that is selling products on Facebook or services on Facebook that is doing some Facebook advertising or selling off on their own site through Facebook advertising, then you, having leverage, knowing how to run Facebook ads, can come into this and create better ads, get better performance from the ads, and scale that business up and get a really good result. It's the same with anybody with SEO experience for a content site or a team of writers for a content site. You've got leverage that you can bring into it. It's also the same with somebody that has some SaaS software as a service type skill. It could be you're a software developer. It could be that you know how to run a software service business. Anywhere that you've got leverage in a different type of online business, that could be a good business for you to go for, because that leverage can allow you to increase the profits of it and also usually systemize the business and make it a bit more passive too. James has a question. When doing due diligence on a content site, how do you determine if there's untapped upside growth opportunities? Cool. That's a really, really good question, James. Untapped growth opportunities. So you can do this through many, many different routes. Sometimes when you see a content site and you see it's got all ads, maybe you can see a growth opportunity is adding some affiliate content, and vice versa. If you see a content site that has all affiliates, maybe adding some content such as info articles for ad revenue will help it grow. It may take a lot longer to make decent money from the ad revenue or the info type posts that you put out there, but it'll de-risk the business as well for those from going from fully affiliate to having some info content on there as well. So that's one way that you can go. Another way that you can do it is, removing a lot of the bad, toxic, spammy, maybe backlinks, and then adding really good backlinks in, doing a link detox, a disavow, and then getting rid of those, and then adding a bunch more really good backlinks. One of the best ways to grow a content site is to understand which are the best performing articles or categories, and create supporting content around that. Internal linking within the pages of the site, making sure it's easy to get to all pieces of content on the site within 1 to 3 clicks by having a lot on the homepage. Building an email list, doing some technical SEO, doing some on-page SEO, doing some off-page SEO. There's some ways that you can start to grow a content site. And how do you determine that when doing due diligence? Basically, you need to find out about all of these things. Look at the content, do a bit of a content audit. Look at the backlinks, do a bit of a backlink audit. Look at the categories. You can look at the things that I mentioned around how many links does the content have. All these things, if it's missing, then you can spot those upside potential growth opportunities as well. So I hope that answers your question, James. If you have anything that you want me to follow up with on that, please let me know. We've got a lot of people here on the call. So come in and say hi and ask me some questions in the chat box. Even if you don't have a question, just say hi. It's great to interact with you guys. Shane has a question. For beginners, is a built for you content site, niche website builders, for example, site a bad idea? Pretty sure your answer will be yes. It's a really good question, Shane. It depends on what your goal is. Now, startups are startups. When you build something from scratch, and I'm an advocate of niche website builders, right? They sponsor my podcast, and I get content created from niche website builders for a business I bought. When you start something from scratch, it can take some time to get results, and not all businesses are equal, meaning that some businesses that you start from scratch just don't get as much traffic as you may have perceived, or they get more than you have perceived. And that's what we all hear about. Is we all hear about these glorious case studies of people getting results from not just starting or getting a done for you website built from niche website builders, but from a lot of other people. So you still run that risk of maybe it's, you're not getting the best ROI on your money. But if you're a beginner and you have, say, you can only put in 5-10 grand and you don't want to go buy a website for 5 or 10 grand, then it's an option. Personally, I think if you are spending under the $10,000 range, maybe a done for you website is a good idea. If you don't want to go away and buy something that may have been built not so well. But if you can identify, my preference is if you can identify a good website that is in the price range that you can afford, is buy it and then build on top of that foundation. Usually you're buying a lot of sweat equity that somebody's put into that. You're buying an aged domain. You're buying content. Sometimes if the content's not good, it could be worth starting from scratch with with niche website builders or a done for you content site. It really, really depends on how much you have and what your goal is, and are you willing to take the risk, and then delayed gratification as well on the results. So it's a good question, Shane, and it's really hard to just give you a flat out answer. I think you could go either or, really could. And that's big coming from me because I'm a massive advocate of just buying businesses. Cool. Yeah, we got more people flowing in here, so it's great to see. Thanks for coming on, guys. I'm tossing up. Is this, is me doing these lives actually worth it? Let me know in the comments, because I was actually really going to think that maybe this may be my last one, but we've got a bunch of people here, so keep me posted if you think these are good. Let me know. I do have some questions to go through that did get sent to me. One question is about Facebook ads. Now, one fellow emailed me about the performance of Facebook ads. Is it not what it used to be? So he's knows a bunch of people in the online business space, and said that some people are now saying that their campaigns have been working for years now and have stopped and aren't profitable anymore. And they were spending $18 million a year on ads on Facebook, and those campaigns are no longer profitable. This particular fellow is asking for my take on Facebook ads right now, and are they worth it? It's a really good question, and the answer is not just yes, it's worth it, or no, it's not worth it. Here's what I like to explain in business is, if you've got one thing working, keep doing it. And then when it's working really, really well, experiment with another thing to see if you can leapfrog that system and process or advertising campaign that's already working. Let me give you an example. If you're running Facebook ads and you're spending $18 million a year on Facebook ads, let's just round it down to 12 million, and you're spending $1 million a month on Facebook ads. I would suggest is maybe spend $100,000 a month, $900,000 on Facebook ads, and $100,000 per month on different platforms, such as maybe Twitter or LinkedIn or Google, and see what your cost per acquisition is, and see what your cost per lead is, and see what your conversion rate and click-through rates are on those different experiments that you're doing with either Twitter, Twitter, Google, and LinkedIn, or Instagram alone. So obviously, wouldn't scatter yourself too thin by doing Facebook as your primary, and then having all the other ones like Instagram, LinkedIn, Google, and Twitter. I would just try one other thing. So you've got the main campaign, 900K going into Facebook ads. It's working really well, and you haven't been able to beat it. So experiment with one other channel, or one other type of funnel, or whatever it is that you want to experiment with, to see if you can build this little thing up to get better results than the main thing. And then once you do, this has leapfrogged this main one, and then you can start to filter some money into what's working best. And then once that becomes the main one, then you move into doing the same experiments in different areas. So my opinion on Facebook is, who cares? Who cares if it's not working right now? You move to something else and you experiment somewhere else. That's really, really, really important for those businesses that are just single source dependent. And I've seen so many people do it, like $1 million a month just on Facebook ads and not doing anything else. It's ridiculously risky, because once they stop, they've lost their business, and they've got to go. It takes time to build up another campaign to be profitable and working. It can take 3 months, it can take 6 months, or whatever it is to get it back. And that time of spending money, not making money, when you have to stop and start something else, it's really detrimental to a business. I've been there personally. So it's a really, really good question. I've got more questions coming through on the chat, but I've got more questions to go through that have been submitted. Let me stick with the chat now and then come back to the submitted ones. James. And guys, does that make sense? Like what I'm talking about? Let me know if it actually makes sense, and not just me babbling on. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. We've still holding a good fort here. We've got some people sticking around and interested. So it's great to see you guys here. James removed a question. James, this is about to get to that, bro. Come on. You just can't you've removed a question on me. No question's a silly question. Chuck it back in or reiterate it and put it back in the chat. Shane. Thanks, Jared. Love your content. Thanks, Shane. Really appreciate it. Thanks for your question too. Kirk, if I have a budget of 25 to 75 grand, does your course help with a strategy to buy and scale sites generate 5, 10, 15K per month net profit? Hey, Kirk, it's great. It's a great question. What I do is, yes, I can help you buy and scale. So your question is help. I want to make sure I answer this really well for you. 25 to 75K, yes, I help people buy sites in that price range. I help people buy sites usually from the $10,000 price range. We've ever had people buy them, as low as 5K up to, 500K and sometimes more. So yes, in that price range, definitely. And then scale them, of course. I've helped people go with scale their content sites from, 2.5 grand to 20 grand a month. And you're asking, can I help scale you from 5 to 10 to 15K per month in net profit? Of course, right? Now, I'm going to be open and realistic about this. Once you've got a site that you're doing like $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month, to get to the next level, there's some content, really good content to get you to like five grand a month or a bit more in the courses, right? I've got the buying online business course and the growing online business course, and there's a lot in there. But if you really want to go the next level, the people that are doing 6 and 7 figures in business, and I'm helping them scale those businesses, these are the people that I'm doing one-on-one coaching with and getting exceptional results. Now, you don't need to do that, but I'm just being open that, yeah, you can get great results. You can get 5 to 10K through the courses. But if you want to go the next level, then that's where the one-on-one stuff happens. It doesn't need to be with me. You can go somewhere else. It's totally fine. But just being open and honest about that for you. And then Kirk says, and generally speaking, how long can it take to do this? It can take roughly about this long. I know what you mean by that. Or I hope you know what I mean by this. How long is a piece of string? Every niche is different. Every business model is different. Once we have something working, then we can start to predict the scalability in terms of time frame. But I'd need to know what the business is doing and how it's performing. And I'd need to tune in and listen to the business, which is looking at the data, to be able to get a time frame for you. But hey, look, I've helped people, Elon, for example, I was chatting to him yesterday. I helped him go from 2 grand to 22 grand in 3 months. Now that's a non-typical result. Most people won't get there, but it's a possibility. And then I've helped people at times go from 2 grand to 3 or 4 grand a month, and it can take a year. Still doubling your income, but it's really good. So it depends. The timing is really, really dependent. Kirk says, totally get it. Thanks. Cool, Kirk. Really good questions. James, yes, you're coming back with the questions, James. Still good to see everybody's here and following. Thanks, guys. Say hi in the chat box if you're following, so it's not just me in the room by myself. James says, what are your favorite ways to de-risk a deal? Gold, James, gold. Favorite way to de-risk a deal. Now, here's a big secret. This is a big, big, big secret for you. I don't talk about this much, but the best way to grow a business is to de-risk the business. That's a growth strategy in itself. So, for example, if a business has single source dependency on, if we're sticking with content sites, if it's got single source dependency on Google traffic, then getting an email list happening and also getting some other traffic from Pinterest is a big win. That's one of my favorites, a de-risk a deal. Also, content that has 10 to one article that has like 10 or more percentage of the traffic coming to that, building supporting content around that piece of content, internal links and making the content really good. That's a really good way to de-risk a content site. E-commerce businesses, de-risking an e-commerce business. So many things that it depends on the business. Usually it's the same thing as like if you're just doing Facebook ads, make sure you got some campaigns running and getting some traffic from other locations, not having one single source product. With a affiliate site, it can be not having one, just Amazon being your affiliate. Having multiple affiliates is really good. That's diversification. I like to just use for de-risking. I like to use the my principle and philosophy around single source dependency is to not have single source dependency ever, and build out some more reliance on other channels and other products and other means of income. So I hope that helps, James. James has another question, and I'm going to get to Hassan's question soon. James says, what resources team members should a first-time buyer invest in? Really good question. Coach, a coach, a mentor. That's probably the best. That's probably the best starting point. Is getting guidance. Getting guidance as a beginner, and then depending on the business, as a beginner, maybe somebody to do keyword research and content creation, like a writer. Well, e-commerce business, definitely digital marketing is the number one thing. You just got to think about what's the number one thing that grows the business that it needs to get traffic and sales, and then start with the team there. So good question. Hassan's question is, hey, Jared, do you run a portfolio of sites? Hassan, yes, I do. I got some businesses, online businesses, of course. In fact, I'm doing a case study on one of them. I started that case study, and I think I published the video yesterday. No, the day before yesterday. There's a playlist on the channel there. It's month number 1. If you guys haven't checked that out, check that out. It's month number 1 on this case study of how I'm taking this site from around $400 a month to want to get it to $2,000 by the end of the year. We'll see how we go. I'm confident we can get there, but some things can happen, and then eventually that'll probably spawn into $5,000, and maybe even $10,000 a month. So yeah, follow that along. That'll be very helpful for people looking to build a portfolio of sites. And I'm just going to share everything there. So. And then I've got a lot of people that I work with that I have been for many years, helping them scale their business as well, which is really beneficial to me too, because, hey, I secretly learn so much in there. Kirk, totally get it. Yep. Shane says, anyone here not a beginner with tips to offer for us that are? Anyone here not a beginner with tips to offer for us that are? So Shane's a beginner wanting to know who's not a beginner that can give them tips. Shane, I've got lots of tips. Just keep coming with questions, mate. I'm sure there's a lot of other people on my podcast or that I had on my YouTube are not beginners that would have some tips as well. So check out my channel, check out the podcast. A bit of self-promotion without shame right there, guys. Jersey Shore Devil. Okay. Hi, Jared. New to your channel, just getting started digging into your material. Thanks for the live coaching. Yeah, Jersey Shore. Cool, man. I'm glad that you like it. Thank you for the love. Yeah, we've still got so many people on. It's great. Tim Holler. Oh, you've been around for ages, Tim. It's good to see that you're still here in the game. Hi, Jared. Thank you for your time and valuable information. I'll be signing up shortly. Yeah, Tim, it's good. Good, man. Looking forward to working with you and helping you buy a site and scale it. Yeah, it's going to be fun. James, super helpful. Your content's terrific. Thank you so much, James. That's a terrific comment. Really appreciate the love. Tim has one question. Does it make sense to wait another 12, I think that's months, to reduce the possible risk associated with COVID inflated revenue net profit? Tim, if a business is heavily impacted by COVID in terms of upside or downside, and I'm talking if it's more than 30 to 40% of increase or decrease in sales and traffic, I just think it's a good rule to just not go there. Unless you wait a year or more but still you're going to run the risk of the same thing happening again. And I would not factor in your in your valuation those months that did have an impact from COVID inflated revenue or deflated revenue. In fact, I have had people come to me with COVID related businesses saying, "Hey, Jared, I want to sell this business. Can you help me?" Introduce them to a few brokers and stuff like that. Because, hey, I'm not a broker. I am completely a fiduciary and not biased. So those brokers said, no, we just don't go there. Next question, Shane. I subscribed, been through 2 to 3 of your two-thirds of your podcast. Really like it and learned a lot so far. Thanks, Shane. Really appreciate it. Cool. So we've been 30 minutes in, guys, and we've still got more to go. This is going to be good. Say hi in the chat box, guys. Let me know what questions you have. I was going to actually stop doing these YouTube lives, but it sounds like it could be a good thing. If you think this has been good and you think me doing some YouTube lives and answering a question should continue, let me know. Let me know in the chat box. I need some feedback there to know whether I continue on. Next question. This is from Jackson, and this is off the chat box. This is a submission through email. Jackson says, I guess my main issue is funding. I'm pretty confident getting loans for the first 2 online businesses, but after that, I'm stumped on what to do. I'm an Aussie guy living in Germany, so I'm able to access both loan markets to a point. Also, I'd like to finance a car and house later on. What would you recommend for someone like me? Jackson, good question. What I'd recommend is if you've got cash to buy 2 businesses, buy 2 businesses and get some cash and continue working. Now, why I say this is because if you buy some passive income sites, you can still do work on those 2 sites, and then you have your 3rd income from your job. So you've got 3 incomes. Do this for a number of years and just keep growing your cash and building that up and building your income. Then as an Aussie, I don't know about the financing in Germany, but as an Aussie, I know this well, being one, you can then you can pay yourself a decent wage, and then you should be able to get finance. Okay. Should be able to get finance for a property. I would invest. My suggestion is not to buy a PPR. What's a PPR? All these acronyms. It's not an online business acronym. It's a real estate investing acronym. PPR is primary place of residence, and that's your home. Most people are going to come on and say a home is a good asset. It's not an asset. A home is a liability, and it's better to buy an investment property and be a rent investor. That's my take on it. That's my version. But the first step is buy those 2 businesses, keep your job, keep your income, have a good income stream so the banks and the lenders can go, this guy's got a good income and he can afford to get a loan. Then you've got a deposit and you've got finance, go away and buy a property. And because you've got two businesses, you can put them within a company, and you can buy a car on finance through your company. So that's a really good way to start to understand opportunity cost, not spending your cash on just a property or your cash on just a car. You're using finance, and then you can invest your money in other assets that give you more of an income than what you would have to pay from the interest on the other things that you're financing. And this comes into, well, this video has become a wealth creation strategy. So that's a really good question, Jackson. Really, really superb question. So I hope you got a lot of value from that. Shane, coming back to keyword research and SEO, how much overlap is there in keyword research to SEO? The 2 work streams associated with those seem very closely related. Look, keyword research is a part of SEO. I wouldn't say it's an overlap, but I'll just call keyword research SEO, because what you're doing is you're finding the best keyword that your site can rank for in the search engines, which is SEO, which can bring you the best amount of traffic for how much authority your website or domain actually has. So it is, keyword research is an SEO strategy. It's not really an overlap, or yeah, it is SEO. Arrowhead Technical Sales and Marketing has a question. Is there a tool to comprehensively monitor and manage a portfolio of sites? I'm currently looking at WordPress Manage and SEMrush as a combo, but is there a more holistic tool available? It's a good question, and it depends on what you mean by manage and monitor. Manage and monitor. Like it's I don't know what you mean by manage and monitor a portfolio of sites, but yeah, it depends on what sort of tools. I mean, what sort of growth strategy you're using. So it sounds like sites. So I'm presuming content sites. With content sites, if you're running it yourself and you've got a team, usually you have Ahrefs or SEMrush for SEO stuff, keyword research and SEO stuff, links and all that sort of stuff. Those two, SEMrush or Ahrefs, good tool. Tracking things, accounting software, and maybe having your own P&L of things that you want to track in terms of articles and all those sorts of different things that you can. I have my own tools and spreadsheets and stuff that I share with my clients, one-on-one stuff, but you can create your own to track the different things, backlinks, internal links, keyword rankings, all those sorts of things. But yeah, I think there's no like one all tool unless I was to create one, which I don't know. Maybe I'll do it with a JV with somebody who's got some software and experience. If they want to do that, reach out, great. But yeah, there's no one be all and end all tool for everything for managing a site. You've got different things that you may need. I like to use, it's either Ahrefs or SEMrush. There's other tools as well, depending on the content site. Like you can use Surfer SEO, you can use Link Whisperer and other SEO tools, and then you can use Slack for communications. That I use that for between team. I like to use Google Docs. Yeah, so I hope that helps. Yeah, contents. Arrowhead says content sites. Thanks. I'm using too many tools. I was just wondering if there was one that would benefit maintenance, such as uptime, traffic, with marketing aspects. Yeah, it's either one or the other. Ahrefs or SEMrush for SEO stuff in terms of SEO marketing. Good question. We got a question from James. How often do you host live Q&A sessions on YouTube? I found this very helpful. Awesome, James. I have done 3, maybe 4, once a month. So if you got questions, let me know either here or actually just jared@buyingonlinebusiness.com. Email me those. So it sounds like this is a win. Maybe I will do another one next month. Yes. Next question is from somebody who has submitted something outside of the chat box here in YouTube. I have $1 million. This is Ray. I have $1 million. I'm looking for more cash flow opportunities. I already have $7 million in real estate and was looking to put $1 million in online business and be passive. Maybe partner with somebody. Can you help me with this? So 1 million cash. 1 million for cash flow opportunities. It depends on your aggressiveness. It sounds like since you've got a bit of a property portfolio, you can start to go a bit more aggressive because you're not reliant on income. What I would suggest is buying some content sites, maybe 2 or 3 content sites, around 100 to 200K in some similar niches, and build that into a portfolio that lends itself to each other, and then maybe buy an e-commerce business that's in the same niche as one of those, and take traffic from one to the other, and sell it as a package, build it up, sell it as a package. This starts to get a bit more. It's a bit more of a technical question on how to structure a portfolio, depending on what your goals are, your cash flow, and your risk. So you need to know your risk tolerance. You got to need to know your income goals as well. So it's a tough one to answer, but that's a very general statement that most people could go down that track and use. So yeah, good questions, guys. It's been a pleasure. It really has. It's been great. I'm so grateful for all of your questions, all the love, and thank you for tuning in. And I will see you on the next one. If you guys missed this live, submit your questions to Jared at buyingonlinebusinesses.com, and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Give this a bit of a thumbs up, and let me know. Do you want to see more of these YouTube lives? Because I will can it if people don't want it or aren't asking questions. But today's been different. So Arrowhead has one more question. If I have a site and acquire a similar site, any tips on how to decide whether to merge them for scale or keep them separate? Yeah, it depends on the niche. And if it makes sense, if it makes sense to do so because the niches are so similar and can be intertwined, then it and then it's also going to depend on what's the revenue stream. Is it ad revenue? Is it affiliate revenue? Is there a product there that can be sold as well? I would say it can be beneficial to merge them. If they're a very similar niche based on just affiliate revenue or affiliate articles and info articles with ad revenue. But you're going to have more leverage if you're sending people from organic traffic to a paid, like an e-commerce site that's in the same niche. The e-commerce site will fare better, and you'll probably get, it'd probably be a better ROI. So it really depends. I would say keep them separate until you speak to a professional about the two different sites. Arrowhead. Cool. Everybody saying thanks up. What's up? Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.